Welcome to a happy Monday here on Frankly Speaking Sports. I am so glad to have you all with us today. What a great show we have available for you this evening. First of all, 14 minutes from now, we're going to have Super Bowl III champion, return specialist, and cornerback of the New York Jets, Earl Christy, will be joining us live. So that's in about 15 minutes from now. Also, we're going to go over some news in the NHL. We're going to go over some news in the NFL. We got lots of things. We have a lot of people joining us from different venues, different places. You know, if you want to go ahead and do us a big favor on this Monday evening, go ahead and do me a favor. Go ahead and share this to your timeline. Please go ahead, hit the share button. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, whether you're on the Jets platform, the Buccaneers platform, the New York Mets baseball platform, and so on. We got an unbelievable show for you. Want to remind you all that in the event, in the future that you do not get to listen to one of our shows, we are on several different platforms. We are on YouTube. That is correct. We are on YouTube, Frankly Speaking Sports. You can go to that, subscribe to that page. It's free. Listen to all of our interviews, all of our podcasts on that terrific channel. We're also on Twitter, at Larry Frankus. That's with the U.S. at the end. Larry Frankus, follow me on Twitter. For those of you folks that are on different platforms that would like to listen to our show on a nightly basis, go ahead and join Frankly Speaking Sports right here on Facebook. On Facebook Live, we will accept your membership and you will be a member and have access to all the latest sport news and these podcasts. But I told you from 14 minutes from now, we're going to have the great Earl Christy joining us live. But, I want to talk about a few things before we get Earl on the phone. One of the things, if you are ever around the Kansas City, Missouri area, I had the opportunity and the pleasure. It was a couple of weeks ago, we talked to the great Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum. And I had an opportunity this weekend to go with my wife to the Negro League Baseball Museum. And let me tell you something. It is a must-see. What great history. What a great museum. A lot of education, really a lot of education. Pictures, baseballs, autographs. Just an unbelievable display of what the Negro League Baseball Leagues were all about. Just a great time. I highly recommend anybody that is a sports fan to go see this great museum in Kansas City, Missouri. Now, we got some news today, and I want to go over this with you. Obviously, everybody knows, and I'm getting it up here on my page so I can read the actual games to you. Let me get that for you right here. Let's see. There we go. All right. I want to be able to tell you the games, but the NHL is back in play. And here are some key dates for all you hockey fans out there. The NHL is starting back up August 1st. All training camps open today. So if you're an NHL fan, your team reported to camp today. On the 26th, they will travel to the two hub cities. If you haven't heard, the two hub cities are going to be in Canada, in Edmonton and Toronto. Then on August 1st, the first rounds begin. The qualifying rounds begin. Then on August 11th, you're going to have the first round. August 25th, the second round begins. September 8th is the conference finals. September 22nd, the Stanley Cup finals begin. If the game, Stanley Cup, should go 7 games this year, the last possible date for the game will be October 4th. That's if there is a Game 7 involved. So those are some key dates in the NHL. Now, for some of you listeners out there, and I know we got a lot of Tampa Bay fans out there, a lot of New York fans out there. If you are a Tampa Bay, let's see, there it is, Tampa Bay Lightning fan, you are in the round robin. Basically, you're playing 3 or 4 other teams to see where you're going to seed. You're already in the playoffs. You're playing for seed position, whether you're first seed, second seed, third seed, or fourth seed. So it's a 4-team round robin. For you Tampa Bay fans, you will open up first the Washington Capitals on August 3rd. Then on August 5th, you will play the Boston Bruins. And on the 9th, you will play the Philadelphia Flyers. So the 4 teams from the East qualifying rounds for the round robin is going to be the Flyers, the Bruins, the Capitals, and Lightning. All they're playing for is seeds. Now, for you New York fans that are joining us this evening, your Rangers will be in an East qualifying round. Best of 5 series. Same thing, first team to win 3 games. They will be playing, the New York Rangers will be playing the Carolina Hurricanes, and the New York Islanders will be playing the Florida Panthers. Both of those games starting the series will be on August 1st. Best 3 out of 5. Let me see if there's any other teams. Pittsburgh Penguins will play the Canadiens in the qualifying round. And we already mentioned the Bruins, so I think we got most of the teams that are listening right now on our platform. So the NHL, back in full swing, playoff hockey, right off the bat, August 1st. And if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, once again, you will be playing in a round robin just to see where you will be seated. Now, as far as everything goes, I think we had the NBA reported that 2 out of 300 and something people that were tested for COVID-19 as of the July 7th in the bubble, only 2 of them came back positive. So that was some good news out of Orlando. So once again, want to welcome everybody here. We're about 5 minutes away from the great Earl Christy, former New York Jet return specialist, who was on that championship Super Bowl team in 1969 with the New York Jets. We're going to have a terrific interview for all of those joining us from different platforms. And I see lots of different platforms out there right now joining us. Do me a favor, hit the share button on your feed. Doesn't matter where you're listening. All you do is go down, hit share, and you can share this with all your friends. Give them this great opportunity to listen to what's about to be a great show. Now, after the interview with Earl Christy, we're going to talk a little bit about the AFC East. You know, we all know that Cam Newton just signed with the New England Patriots. But now with the exit of Tom Brady, who is considered the best quarterback in the AFC East? And I love to see my fans go ahead and, let me know you're here. Leave a quick message. It takes 2 seconds. Just say hello. Love to know that you're here. Also, after the interview with Earl, you can call us. We have a call-in line where if you want to ask some questions about any sports topics, something that's on your mind, or you just got a question after the interview with Earl, go ahead and give us a call. That number is 479-553-7008. Want to remind you all that tonight we got Earl Christy. Tomorrow, former Minnesota Twin pitcher Darryl Jackson will be joining us live on that's Tuesday night tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we're going to move over to Crew Life, and we're going to have Superfan Big Nasty on Crew Life with us. So a great show on Crew Life on Wednesday night. If you're a Buccaneer fan, you definitely have to join that show. So a great show in store for you all. As I check some of our quick messages here before we get Earl on the line here. Let's see if I still have that. Yep, there we go. All right. So we're about 2-3 minutes away. Anyone that wants to go ahead and say hello, let me know you're there. Love to know that I got, who's there. I don't get to see all the names of the fans that are actually on right now. Also, if you're on a different platform, you can go ahead and leave a message. I'm just not sure if you're on a different platform that we will get the message. We are not ignoring you. The way to prevent that is later on after the show, go to Frankly Speaking Sports, join our unbelievable Facebook page. Doesn't matter if you belong to another group. We do shows 5 nights a week. You may want to listen to our show because there's not necessarily a show going on your platform. Go ahead, do that. We would love to have you as a member. Also want to remind you all that every Wednesday night going forward, we will be on Crew Live, just like we will be this Wednesday night on Frankly Speaking Bucks. Every Wednesday night, join us on the Crew Live platform as we will be there doing that show as well. We had a lot of different topics that have been coming up in the last couple days. And we're going to go ahead and get to them after the interview. Last thing I want to do is start. A lot of people are texting in, what do we think about COVID-19? That's a common question I get every night here. Also want to welcome our good buddy from Crew Life, Rob Thompson. Actually, I think he's joining us from Miami tonight. So, want to definitely welcome him to the show. Like I said, if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns you want to talk about, please let us know and we will get to them. Also, want to welcome the New York Jets fans, all right, from New York Jets Hardcore and another New York Jets fan club joining us today. You're about to listen to an unbelievable story about a guy who did not play high school football. Earl Christy's school did not have a high school football team, so he was unable to play organized football until he went to college. And then a great story, he was a great basketball player, great track and field, just an unbelievable all-around athlete. So we're going to go ahead, get him on the phone, and we're about to hear just another amazing Frankly Speaking Sports interview story from another great athlete who did very well for themselves. So let's go ahead and get our buddy Earl Christy on the line. Hey, Earl, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor, thrill, and most of all a pleasure to introduce to you on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline, former Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl III special return specialist and cornerback. Let's welcome the great Earl Christy. Earl, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, Larry, man. God bless you, buddy. I'm just glad to be on with you. I mean, you just rocking it anyhow, man. I'm telling you, it's a privilege to be here tonight.
And it's a privilege to have you on, Earl. Earl, we're going to go into your book, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I want to start out with, I found out that you actually went to a high school where they didn't have a football team. So it's even more remarkable the career you had in the NFL, when you think about you had no high school football team and didn't start playing until actually college, did you?
That's correct, buddy. And no question, no experience. I really didn't. You know, my favorite team as a kid growing up, though, we watched football on TV, the Colts, Baltimore Colts at that time. But no, I didn't know nothing about a post pattern or nothing like that. And you know, we had gym classes, but no, we just threw the football around. I didn't know about blocking and tackling.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. Now, I've heard while you were in high school, but you were a pretty darn good basketball and track and field player.
No question about it. I was really blessed with basketball, and I recall, you know, and I can't give you too much in the good book, but one game I played against the team, they had 42 points, and I scored 43 and missed 6 minutes of the third quarter because he just took me out, you know, since we were, you know, winning up so much in score. But and then my cousin asked me, put him back in the game so we could break the record, and the record was 35 points at that time. But yeah, I love basketball, and back in the day, you know, being 5'10", 5'11", I could dunk the basketball. That was unusual back in the '60s. You know, you had to be over 6 feet tall. And then in track and field, I was so blessed to have a great coach. That coach at Moulton State, went to Moulton State, and I mean, we won 6 straight championships in track and field. And then we also had cross country, which is running for distance. It was like a 2-mile run. And those are the things that we had at our school. We didn't have any other sports.
Wow. So let me ask you this, Earl. With you now playing football in high school, you end up going to college. When did it click to you, hey, I want to play football?
Well, I was very blessed to have a roommate, Dr. Percy Thomas, today. He became a doctor. He was a third string quarterback on the football team, you know, and he told me in the PE classes that I majored in physical education, and he said, Earl, man, you got speed and everything, and you're a pretty good athlete. You should try out for the team. And that was after my freshman year. And so I went out for the team over to the locker room, and he was messing around. He said, Earl, you lost your keys and misplaced the keys? I said, no. I said, no, you told me I could play football. He said, well, I was joking with you, but I know you had speed. And then that's how it started. And then Skip McCain, the head coach, was saying, what are you doing over here, young man? I said, I want to try for football. And, you know, I want to try for the team. And this guy's 300 pounds back in the day. Over in our college, we had people, they were laughing. He wants to play. They love new people. So in the spring, they had an opportunity for players to come out and try for the team. I didn't even know how to put on a football uniform because I never had one as a kid to try on. And I had to get someone to help me off with my shoulder pads and everything. And went out on the field, and what was so amazing, the coach, I was watching the guys, and one guy got hit as a running back and got knocked down, and they said, roll him off the field. I said, oh, I'm in trouble. You know, back in those days, they didn't have cell phones. I couldn't even call home. And then it happened again. And then the coach said, are you ready, Earl Christy? Come on in here. I'm going to teach you a play. I can remember today, 241, off tackle. And he said, you're going to take the football, and we're going to put you in running back, and you run off the left hip of the tackle on the left-hand side. So, you know, that's how I got started. And the first time I closed my eyes when I got hit. And the coach said, if you'd open your eyes, you may have scored. I was running over people. That's how I first got started.
Incredible. So let me ask you this. Here you are, you're in college, you play what? 4 years of college football, and you're signed by the New York Jets. Did you ever expect in your wildest dreams that you would make it to the NFL?
No person, I did not know that. You know what was amazing? You probably heard of Emerson Boozer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, okay, Walt Michaels was the assistant coach to Weave Eubanks, the Hall of Fame coach for us, the New York Jets. And so he came down to see Emerson Boozer. So he saw this guy, number 21 from Maryland State, the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, running punt return young man. So in my wildest dream, I never thought that. And he talked to Boozer and then talked to our coach. And man, they brought us up to New York. Can you imagine me, a farm boy, over 300 people in your hometown, and get a chance to go to New York City and as a free agent, because they drafted Boozer #3. And then the coach had nerve enough, Walt had nerve enough to ask me, would you like to play in the American Football League? I was ready. Because I thought, I was a baseball player too, and I had a good shot there, and I had scouts looking at me in baseball. I thought that might be an option for me, but not football in my wildest dreams.
Now, you ended up being, besides a cornerback, you ended up being a return specialist, punt returns, kick returns. Tell our listeners, because some of them don't know, there was a big difference in the game being a return specialist back in the late 60s than there is today in the NFL, isn't it?
Boy, good question, Larry. Let me tell you something. Nowadays, they give you 5 yards. You cannot be in 5 yards. Can you imagine if I had that rule when I was playing? Are you kidding me? I never called for a fair catch the time that I played for the Jets. I figured they can't hit me till I catch it. But I paid the price one time. We were playing against the Buffalo Bills, and Big Substack, one of the big tackles was Buffalo Bill. Before I and he hit me in my side. My ribs ached for about 6 months, the whole season. And I'm saying it was amazing. But back in the day, you have the room. And then plus, I never wanted to touch the football down. I came out the end zone every time because I believe in that I'm going to get up at least to the 20-yard line or more. Because if you have a touchback, it's 20 yards. They take it out on the 20-yard line.
Right.
But then, the rules they had there, and even with the blocking scheme, man, back in the day, man, it was different. I mean, you on that football field, you were in trouble. I mean, they didn't let you clip them, but good night, there was some slow close calls in that clipping part. But no, it was a tough thing. You had to catch that ball, and they'd be all over you.
Now, Earl, do you think they're taking too much of the physicality out of football?
Well, I have to say, it would be really tough for us to play because we would be getting penalties. We believe in the theory. If you went up in the field, we'd go hit you if you're up in the state, okay? That whistle stop blowing. There's no question about it. Oh, there's no doubt about it that the rules, but they're trying to protect the players, but they still getting hurt. Back in the day, I mean, you on that field, and the quarterback, oh, good gracious.
Right.
No Brady rule or that type of rule. No, you went all out. And then I'm glad to protect the quarterback. There's no question about it. But no, you were on that football field, unless you were out of bounds, you were game to be hit.
Now, before we get into the Super Bowl and that particular game, if you look at the team that the Jets had on the field, I mean, I would have to say before that, I guess you could say 68 season started, I mean, you had some guys on that team that were incredible playmakers. I mean, what you had Snell on that team. You had, of course, Boozer. What was it? George Sawyer, Don Maynard.
The wide receiver that caught 8 in the Super Bowl game.
Yep.
Yes. What got the best hands? Just like Raymond Berry, the great wide receiver that played for the Baltimore Colts. Phenomenal. Don Maynard, Hall of Famer. I mean, good night. Unbelievable skills.
And you had two receivers that year that had over 1,000 yards receiving.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I mean, I used to watch him in practice and play against him. Okay, our toughest game was playing in practice against each other, and that was so amazing.
Now, let me ask you this, Earl. You guys go on, you get to the playoffs. Nobody gave you a chance in the Super Bowl. Let's talk before the Super Bowl. Your buddy Joe Namath, Broadway Joe, comes out and guarantees a victory. What was the guys on the team's initial thoughts before that game when they heard Joe come out and guarantee a win?
Well, let me give you a short story on that. film in practice in college, okay? And we had Johnny Tampa, as you know, one of the great corners that ever played the game. So we had 5 players on both teams, more than any college in America, and we had only 600 to 800 students, boys and girls.
Yeah, and that's incredible. I actually was going to ask you about that. I did see that. Let me ask you this about the game. Everybody, maybe but the players on that field for the Jets, thought the New York Jets were not going to win that game. How much more special was it to just tear the Colts apart and beat them that game?
Well, first of all, I'm from Maryland. That's my hometown team.
Right.
I grew up really loving John Unitas, Lenny Moore, John Mackey was the greatest tight end that ever played the game, okay? Because he could block and run patterns, okay? So he could do both. And we have some good ones nowadays that can block and catch the football. But what happened, in that game, it was so dramatic. We were looking at film, and Joe and Pete Lamont said, we better stop looking at the film before we get overconfident. And most people didn't realize Joe called 80 to 90% of the plays from the line of scrimmage. And the Colts had an awesome defense. They only allowed probably 7 or 8 points a game. They destroyed every team. The only team that beat them was that team that year was Cleveland. They came back and beat Cleveland 34-0. So the big part about it, their defense was awesome. They said it was like David and Goliath. We didn't have a chance. But we felt that way because they were going to be in the wrong defense. Because when they got to the line, Joe would say, "Check with me." And then the coach, a lot of times, blitz, and they changed the defense, and then he would check off and say, "Green 34, green 34." It was hot. That was a hot coverage. We had 3 hot covers. And boom, George Sal caught 8 passes, like I said, in that game. We knew it. And John Maynard had a full muscle. He was just a decoy. I'm telling you, if he would have been healthy, the score would have been lost.
Wow. So let me ask you this. I'm sure it'll be your honest opinion. How good of a quarterback was Joe Namath?
Okay, first of all, Joe Namath's a winner. He didn't have the greatest stats in the world. In fact, in that game, he didn't even throw a pass in the last quarter, the fourth quarter. But Joe Namath, his ability to influence and motivate and inspire players. Because every time we went in the game with his cockiness and profound ways of attitude and all that, we thought we were going to win every game. And actually, we should have won that game. You'll probably ask me about the Heidi game and some other games. We thought sometimes we would go on the field and we just show up and win. And we lost to 2 of the weaker teams that year, Denver and Buffalo Bills. Okay? But the bottom line is that he was a tremendous student of the game. And that's why, like, people like Dan Marino, even Terry Bradshaw, they would tell me they would model their game after Joe because of his great release. And the reason why, that's why the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, and what have you, are students of the game because Joe studied our receivers. And Weeb Eubanks coached 2 great quarterbacks, John Unitas,
Yep.
when he won a championship, and Joe Namath. And he said we had one of the most, in fact, he said we had the most intelligent football team he ever coached.
And you know something, Earl? You talk about that Heidi game, and if you really think about that game, it would have just been another game if the television network, it would have been a great comeback, obviously, by the Raiders, but it would have just been another game that just passed by eyes, just a loss. But because of the television and what they did at that time, that game just got blown up.
No question about it, Joe. It was on national TV, West Coast team. So we had the nation on NBC, and of course you've seen the film before. And my old man, okay, we're winning. All I gotta do is run the kickoff back. Joe run the clock out. We go home with a victory. But no, we kicked off to me, and I'm running with the football, and my own man,
Right.
Mark Spalinsky, I forgave him after 20 years. The ball out of my hand, it goes It was so funny, man. They burned the circus out, just like you said. So I'm responsible now that no show will be cut away from, or it will be played in its whole entirety. So I get claim for that thing. So you guys got to thank me for that.
So tell us about New York. You're in New York, you win it. Obviously, that city was hungry for a championship. What was it like after that game in the city? I mean, the game wasn't played obviously in New York, it was in Miami, but what was it like? What was it like when you got back to New York?
Let me tell you something. Of course, when the mayor at that time, I guess it was Mayor Daley, but they gave us a big day at City Hall and everything. I mean, everywhere we went, everybody wanted to give us something. Didn't pay for nothing. I said we need to win every year for that. I mean, the city was buzzing, and as you know, 3 in a row, and we beat 3 of my hometown teams. The Jets won, but the Knicks won,